Jungkook's mother refuses to sign new contract. HYBE allegedly feels betrayed by family. Is Jungkook's future with HYBE now in jeopardy because of his mother? Fans shocked by sudden block on exclusive deal. Was it a silent act of protection or a declaration of war? No one saw it coming. Not the media, not the fans, not even. It seems the company that once prided itself on controlling every narrative surrounding its biggest star. But in a development so startling that even insiders are calling it a potential fracture in the foundation of BTS, sources now allege that Jungkook's own mother is the key figure behind a shocking decision that may change everything behind closed doors. In the weeks following Jungkook's return from military service, talks were said to be underway for a new contract, one that would define the next chapter of his relationship with HYBE. The label, eager to secure the global icon for more years to come, reportedly prepared a comprehensive and high-stakes exclusive clause. But just as the ink was expected to hit paper, the unthinkable happened. She said no, according to speculative but increasingly credible chatter within the entertainment industry. Jungkook's mother has allegedly refused to approve the terms of the contract. Her concerns, while not publicly confirmed, are whispered to be deeply personal, emotional, and possibly connected to the visible strain her son endured before enlisting. But why would HYBE allow a family member, no matter how close, to be involved in a legal decision of this magnitude? The answer might lie in the original structure of Jungkook's career. Having debuted at such a young age, much of Jungkook's early legal groundwork was believed to have included guardian oversight. And if those protections extended into the current transition, then the signature, or refusal, of a parent still carries weight. And now, that refusal is making headlines in hushed tones behind every closed office door in Seoul's entertainment district. Was this truly about legal concerns, or is this emotional? Did Jungkook's mother witness something the public didn't during her son's meteoric rise to fame? Could the bright lights and relentless schedules have concealed a quiet suffering that only she truly saw? And if so, is this act of defiance her way of finally saying enough? The implications are massive. If the rumors are true, then Jungkook's current standing with HYBE is not just complicated, it's unstable. A rejected contract could mean limited future activities under the label's name. It could mean no solo album rollout, no endorsements, no comeback. Or worse, a quiet push for him to walk away entirely. HYBE, for its part, has remained silent. Not a single press release has addressed the growing speculation. But insiders claim that behind the scenes, the mood has turned from confusion to panic. One anonymous source allegedly close to the contract discussions described the atmosphere at HYBE headquarters as shaken, but trying to save face. According to them, the company had planned to roll out Jungkook's next phase with a celebratory tone. But now, all promotional plans have been paused. And fans? They're torn. Some believe Jungkook's mother is acting out of love, that she's stepping in now to protect her son from another decade of overexposure, pressure, and emotional exhaustion. Others, however, are worried. They ask, is this really what Jungkook wants? Is he being protected, or is he being blocked? After all, Jungkook is no longer a teenager. He's a man who's served in the military, who's traveled the world, who's topped global charts and survived scandals, sorrow, and the crushing gaze of public expectation. Wouldn't he be capable of deciding for himself whether or not to continue with the label that made him a legend? But maybe that's exactly the point, because despite all his success, the most consistent thing in Jungkook's life, the one that never changed as fans came and went, as management restructured, as friends became strangers and strangers became fans, was his mother. She was there before the fame. And now, she may be stepping in to make sure he still has a life after it. And so we return to the question everyone is now asking, but no one can yet answer. What does Jungkook want? His silence is starting to scream. His public absence since returning home. The missed photo shoots. The skipped meetings, the tight-lipped label, and now, the story of a rejected contract. Fans have begun revisiting his older interviews, live streams, and Weverse posts. They're noticing things they missed the first time, moments of hesitation when talking about future plans, subtle confessions of burnout, quiet statements about needing to just breathe. Could it be that this has been building for years? Could this be the culmination of a boy who gave everything he had to the world and is now trying to figure out what, if anything, he has left for himself? And what if that journey started not with a dramatic announcement, but with a single decision made by someone who has loved him from the beginning, a mother's refusal? What happens next is unclear. Will HYBE renegotiate the terms? Will Jungkook step forward and speak on the matter himself? Will there be reconciliation? Or is this the prelude to something irreversible? Whatever the answer, one thing is certain. The bond between a mother and her son just disrupted one of the most powerful contracts in K-pop, and the world is watching. There is a growing theory among fans and close observers of the K-pop industry that what happened was not impulsive, not erratic, and certainly not uninformed. Instead, many now believe Jungkook's mother has been quietly watching, quietly listening, quietly waiting. Waiting for the exact moment her son might need her the most, not to defend him in front of cameras, but to protect the parts of him that cameras will never see. Some call it interference. Others call it the ultimate act of maternal devotion. But what about HYBE? Those close to the industry have started whispering of an emotional reaction within the label itself. One source, whose past disclosures have proven accurate, claimed that Bang Si-hyuk, the chairman and founder of HYBE, was personally involved in the contract drafting process. Not only because of Jungkook's value to the company, but because of their long, complex history. It was Bang who originally saw potential in the teenage trainee with wide eyes and a trembling voice. It was Bang who gave him the chance to debut,
to rise,
to dominate, and now, to Bang. This alleged rejection by the family may not just feel like a business breakdown, it may feel like personal betrayal. If Bang Si-hyuk did see himself as a kind of artistic father figure to Jungkook, what does it mean when the singer's real family says no? What happens to that emotional investment? What happens when the idol you helped build is suddenly being steered by someone else's hands? More curiously, what happens when that person is not a manager, not an agent, not even an attorney, but a mother who, for years, stayed out of the spotlight? One can't help but wonder, did Bang and Jungkook's mother ever see eye to eye? Did they clash in the past? Was there tension about the pace of Jungkook's schedules, the emotional toll of constant travel, the pain of being pulled from childhood into global fame without warning? There are no official answers, only questions. But the silence from HYBE lately has become louder than any press release. Some fans are already speculating that this may explain the eerie pause in Jungkook's activities. Following his military discharge, it was expected that HYBE would stage a triumphant rollout, a reintroduction of Jungkook to the world as a mature, evolved artist. There were talks of a new era, new sound, new style, but then nothing but new photo shoots. No fresh content. No formal announcement of future plans, just nothing, and now we might know why. The rejected contract. The unseen influence of a mother. The alleged tension behind the scenes. The emotional silence of a company caught off guard. And maybe, just maybe, the quiet preparation of something very different. Could Jungkook be preparing to leave? Could he be laying the foundation for a new path? One that includes his own label, his own management, his own terms? There's precedent. Other artists have done it. Zico, J Park, G-Dragon is allegedly testing independence as well. The idea of idols reclaiming their autonomy is no longer unthinkable in 2025. It's beginning to feel inevitable. And Jungkook, with the world already in his hand, may be the next to step out of the machine and walk alone. But here's the twist. He may not be walking alone. Because what if it's true that his mother isn't just protecting him, but guiding him? What if, for the first time in over a decade, Jungkook is not being told what to do by his company, but being supported by the only voice that truly knows him outside the stage? What if the rejected contract isn't the end, but the beginning of something revolutionary? Fans have noticed it. The difference, the tension, the way he used to speak so enthusiastically about projects, and now speaks more cautiously. The way he used to post constantly, and now barely at all. The warmth he still shows to ARMY, yes, but also the unmistakable heaviness behind his eyes when he's caught off guard. They noticed how often he mentioned missing his dog, how often he hinted at exhaustion, how he never quite seemed to answer directly when asked if he was happy. Was this moment, the contract standoff, the first time he was finally allowed to stop? And what if his mother had to be the one to make it happen? There's another layer to all of this. A possibility that fans are only now beginning to explore. What if the contract wasn't rejected just because of workload? What if the clause itself was unhealthy? Rumors suggest the proposed exclusivity would have limited Jungkook's ability to participate in non-HYBE projects, delayed any future solo label ambitions, and locked him into a timeline that stretched deep into his 30s, essentially chaining the next chapter of his life to a single entity. Even if that entity built him, supported him, and loved him, that level of control might be too much. Not just for Jungkook, but for any human being. Some say his mother reviewed every line, that she brought in her own legal eyes, that she stood firm in the face of pressure, protecting not just Jungkook's career, but his future mental health. If true, this is not just a contract refusal. This is a boundary. And boundaries, especially in the K-pop industry, are almost always interpreted as rebellion. Which brings us to today and industry watching. A company in quiet panic. A mother holding the line. And a superstar standing silently at the crossroads of two paths. One paved by the system that built him, and one carved through the wilderness by his own desire. Which path will he choose? Will he stay and renegotiate, finding a way to balance loyalty with autonomy? Or will he walk? And if he walks, will anyone dare to follow?